have the New Orleans Saints selected quarterback Derek Carr's replacement as they have drafted in the 5th round, the South Carolina Gamecocks Spencer Rattler. This is huge news. We're going to break this down and some of the other Saints draft picks. Reports emerged after the 1st round by James Palmer of the NFL Network that the Saints allegedly tried to trade up until the top 10 of the 1st round and draft Michael Penix Jr., who eventually was selected by the Atlanta Falcons with pick number 8. The Raiders and the Seahawks allegedly also tried to trade up into the top 10, but this is pretty alarming, seeing that the Saints tried to make a big move and pull the trigger to grab a franchise quarterback, even though they already have Derek Carr on the roster, who recently had his contract restructured where Carr is locked in with the Saints all the way up until 2026. Dennis Allen, however, the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, clapped back against this report.
It was never discussed that we would move up for a quarterback. I'd heard that report. It was brought to my attention last night, but there was zero effort on our part to move up for a quarterback.
So Dennis Allen is claiming that James Palmer is capping. He is lying. He is not telling the truth about what the Saints were planning to do in round 1. The Saints did not select a quarterback in round 1 and instead grabbed the offensive tackle from the Oregon Beavers, Oregon State's Fuaga. Yes, he was selected in the 1st round. You see him getting emotional there with his family. They're all there rubbing the shoulders. You know the guy's Samoan, so they gotta bring the whole freaking family at the NFL draft. That's how those Samoans roll. But this was great to see, as the Saints have lost offensive linemen recently, and they did not do a great job protecting Derek Carr last year. New Orleans also got an absolute steal in the draft. Falling to the 2nd round was the cornerback from Alabama, KoolAid McKinney. This guy could not hold back the emotions.
Yes, sir. We're going to the Saints, bro.
That was intense, bro. You can see the freaking tears rolling down his cheek. Dude seems stoked to be drafted by the New Orleans Saints. And I was absolutely surprised. He fell to the 2nd round. A lot of people thought he was going to be a 1st rounder. Nick Saban, the former head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide, had some kind things to say about KoolAid McKinney, saying he's really smart and instinctive, think he's going to be a really good player, and he's probably more ready to play than anybody else. He's physical. I just love the guy. So huge praise from Nick Saban on KoolAid McKinney. And this guy does have one of the dopest names in the NFL draft, KoolAid McKinney. This is a jersey that has to have the first name on the back as well. I know that jersey will absolutely sell out in New Orleans. Part of the reason why he did fall in the draft, though, is he does lack some speed, does lack some burst, but it seems like he is going to play in the slot. You got Marshawn Lattimore on the outside, a combination of Alontae Taylor and Paulson Adebo on the outside, and now the Saints have KoolAid McKinney in the slot. This should solidify the secondary for that New Orleans defense. But the big story happened in the 5th round, after we had a record in the 1st round, where 6 quarterbacks were taken within the first 32 picks. There was a quarterback drought. No QB was taken in the 2nd round. No QB was taken in the 3rd round. No QB was taken in the 4th round until we had Spencer Rattler in the 5th round, landing with the New Orleans Saints. We literally went over 138 picks with no QB. And this was absolutely insane. Nobody saw this coming because the Saints have a crowded quarterback room. The Saints selected Jake Haener from Fresno State in the 4th round last year. If you count Taysom Hill as a quarterback, they still have him. And then you got the Vikings, Kellen Mond, and also the former Gruden grinder, Nathan Peterman, in the quarterback room now. So Spencer Rattler is going to have to keep up with Nathan Peterman to earn that 2nd string role. But here you have it there, the full Saints quarterback room. A lot of people in that room. Somebody is definitely going to get cut before training camp, unfortunately. It is insane that Spencer Rattler fell this low in the draft. A lot of people thought he can go in the 3rd round, 4th round, maybe even a late 2nd round. And it's crazy that a TV show led to his demise.
Spencer Rattler did a reality show in high school. It's called QB1 Beyond the Lights. It did not make him look great. And it is unbelievable how many different teams mentioned to me the image of him in that show and how they can't get it out of their heads, which I think would be a public service announcement to all 17-year-olds. But it is fascinating as teams weigh whether or not to draft him.
So this is insane. These GMs let a TV show Beyond the Lights QB1, which was filmed when Spencer Rattler was in high school, like 17 years old and a senior, they let the way that he acted in that show determine whether or not they would select him now when he's much older, trying to be an adult and enter the NFL. I think that's stupid for a lot of GMs to use that show against him. The guy was a young kid.
What are you doing? 1 minute, let's go. Our receivers suck. That's all on you, bro. You missed 4 or 5 easy-ass passes.
So he is kind of an asshole, but what if he's right? What if he's right that the receivers suck? And come on, dude, he's 17 years old. He's in high school. He's literally hanging out with his buddies at practice after going to class all day. How are you going to use his attitude in this moment against him as an adult entering the NFL draft? That's absolutely ridiculous to me. The young man was excited to be drafted by New Orleans.
With the 150th pick in 2024 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Spencer Rattler, the quarterback.
Yep.
South Carolina.
Let's go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Look at that man. Look at that man. Go.
Oh, all right. We good. We good, brother.
Seems like he may have been disappointed that he fell in the draft. Like I said earlier, a lot of people thought this guy could go much earlier in the draft. Remember, this guy was at Oklahoma, but then was beat out by Caleb Williams. He had to deal with that, battle with that, and then build himself back up, going to South Carolina with the Gamecocks and reviving his career. You have some NFC scouts, according to Tom Pelissero, saying that they have Spencer Rattler higher than Michael Penix, who went with pick number 8. Spencer's got a better arm, better release, and probably has better fundamentals and has played in a couple of pro-style offenses. So it is quite possible that the New Orleans Saints got a steal here. Other scouts have said that they feel bad for Spencer Rattler because he was with the South Carolina Gamecocks. He had to deal with a bad supporting cast, a lot of drop balls, and he got absolutely beat to crap, had a bad offensive line, and he kept taking hit after hit after hit. Spencer Rattler, a little bit on the shorter side, 6 feet exactly. PFF has him highly graded though at 89 grade going all the way back to 2020. He was pressured, however, on about 40% of his dropbacks, just like we were mentioning earlier. This maybe had people not evaluate him quite fairly. And his biggest issue is the lack of athleticism. He does kind of have a Mahomes type of dad bod, especially considering the fact that he ran the 40-yard dash, and I think he had a 5-second 40 time. It was really bad, but we have seen this guy make some plays with his legs. He can extend plays and improvise. But now that the Saints have officially selected Spencer Rattler in the 5th round with pick 150, what does this mean for the quarterback room? What does this mean for the future of Derek Carr? A lot of people see this guy as someone who could eventually develop into a starting quarterback in the NFL. Obviously, I don't believe Derek Carr's job is in jeopardy here. This guy is going to be the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints all the way until 2026. When you look at his contract and the fact that they restructured recently, the dead cap hit for Derek Carr in 2024 is $62 million, $50 million next year, and then $28 million in 2026. So Spencer Rattler is going to have the opportunity to sit behind Carr for about 3 years. I see this as more of a replacement for Jameis Winston. The Saints recently lost Jameis Winston to the Cleveland Browns in the offseason, and Derek Carr got banged up a lot last year, knocked out of games last year. And if the Saints had a solid number 2 quarterback, they probably would have won the division. They probably would have officially closed out and beat the Buccaneers for that NFC South title. So I think this improves the Saints roster significantly. It's not like you're double dipping in a position where you don't have a need. They really did, based off of last year, have a real need for a number 2 quarterback. The Saints seem to love Senior Bowl MVPs. Spencer Rattler was the Senior Bowl MVP this most recent year, and then the year prior, Jake Haener, who the Saints traded up for and selected in the 4th round in the 2023 draft. Well, he was also the Senior Bowl MVP as well during the 2023 draft. So a lot of competition for the number 2 quarterback spot. Jake Haener, unfortunately, was popped for PEDs last year and had to be suspended for 10 games. Keep in mind, he denies that he ever did an illegal substance. He denies it. He does not know what happened. Seems like Haener does not agree with the suspension that he had last year. But even though I think Spencer Rattler probably has the edge over Jake Haener, even though Jake Haener's from Fresno State, my hometown Fresno, I got a soft spot for that guy. I do think Spencer Rattler still has the edge there, but it's not going to be a walk in the park. Jake Haener's definitely going to compete. And if the Saints invested a 4th round pick on this guy, a 1 pick higher than what they invested in Spencer Rattler, a 5th round pick, he's definitely going to be given any opportunity to be the number 2 quarterback. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Did the Saints get a steal with Spencer Rattler here? How will his career turn out? I want to hear from you. Subscribe for more content from me, Wi-Fi Willie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.